Good evening, and thank you for being with us at the Islamic House of Wisdom nightly Ramadan program. We are glad that you're us. We're going to be starting with the recitation of the Holy Quran with brother Ehsun Karimi. بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Inshallah, I'll be reciting from Surah Anfal, Ayah 1. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسألونك عن الأنفال قل الأنفال لله والرسول قل الأنفال لله والرسول فاتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم وأطيعوا الله ورسوله إن كنتم مؤمنين إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون أولئك هم المؤمنون حقا لهم درجات عند ربهم ومغفرة ورزق كريم صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أحسنت.
وآل محمد.
أحسنت. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Good evening and welcome to the Islamic House of Wisdom nightly program. And we're glad that you're with us, and it's good to be back. Before we continue and move to reflection on faith, I'd just like to remind you that, as you well know, during these tough times, most of our programs have turned into humanitarian programs, and one of them is at 12 o'clock every day meal distribution. If you like to pick up any food for yourself or your neighbors, please do so. That starts at 12 p.m. At 2 p.m., the Holy Quran recitation, 6 to 7 p.m. Thursday through Sunday, Youth of Wisdom Zoom interactive program. And our nightly program starts with Dua Kumail at 9:30, then Quran, then reflection on faith, and then we'll move on to distinguished speakers from our community to share their knowledge and their experience and serve the community as much as possible. And now we're gonna, and one thing before I introduce Imam Elahi, I'd like to remind you that everything we're doing right now is very important for the community, and we need your support. So please, if you can support us, we really appreciate it, so we continue delivering the humanitarian and the necessary programs that we're delivering in the community. There is a link on Facebook right now. You can click on that, or you can give us a call. We'd be more than happy to work with you. And now I would like to welcome Imam Elahi for reflection on faith. بعد الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, and thank you, Said Khalil. Welcome back. We missed you last night, and thank you.
I was watching you though.
Sister Linda and Brother Muhammad. Ahlan wa sallam. Let us start with the prayer of the 12th day of the holy month of Ramadan. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم زيني فيه بالستر والعفاف واسترني فيه باللباس القنوع والكفاف واحملني فيه على العدل والإنصاف وآمني فيه من كل ما أخاف بعصمتك يا عصمة الخائفين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, I heard that Sister Linda Bazzi and Brother Mohammad Alqamoussi that you are welcome to our Ramadan program, are planning to talk about healthy food this evening. For that reason, I went through some verses and some hadith in our Islamic traditions, and I was not sure about the direction of your discussion and the details of your talk. But I thought that regardless whether it is part of your discussion, that you also give more explanation and more clarity about some of these verses and hadith, or you would focus only on the scientific part, which is really the completion of this foundation that we are going through. Either way, I thought that we choose a similar topic for tonight. And I think this healthy food is a fundamental discussion these days after this pandemic crisis, this global pain all over. And based on some scenarios that this virus was passed through the wild animals to human population. So discussion of food and health and healthy nutrition at this time has become a global discussion. And we know that in Islam, we have hadith from Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. He said, Al-ilmu ilman, ilmu al-abdan wa ilmu al-adyan. that all we need to know is either related to our physical life or a spiritual life. And Islam is a religion that reflects on both al-hayat al-maddiyya wal-hayat al-ma'nawiyya, our spiritual and our physical life, both in the sense of al-wiqaya, means the prevention and protection of our body and our soul from physical diseases, and also in a sense of treatment and cure. As a matter of fact, if we go through even al-a'mal al-ibadiyya, I mean acts of worship, like the siyam, the Prophet said, sumu tasihhu. One of the things behind this fast, although we do it qurbatan Allah, intention is that we are doing an act of worship. But the Prophet, peace be upon him, said one of the results of fasting is tasihhu, that it is a healthy practice. Even our salat, it is a spiritual, but it still is physical. It's al-qiyam, al-qu'ud, al-ruku', al-sujud is a kind of exercise, physical exercise that we keep repeating every day and every night. When we go to Hajj, we have tawaf, we have sa'i, we have movement between Arafat, Mash'ar, Mina. So it is prayer, but it's about practice. Then we go to preparation for prayer. We have wudu, or we have ghusl. When we want to eat, we have to ghaslul yadayn, to wash our hands before eating and after eating. And this hygiene is a heart of our Islamic teachings, and nadafatu min al-iman. And so very important. I was watching a report recently from on TV in Los Angeles. Now, one of the big issues in one of the areas of the city is like the public restrooms. The mayor was saying that we don't have enough money to provide enough public bathroom, and the homeless, you know, they just is a very chaotic way, and things in certain areas so filthy and smelling, and the nidafa, the cleanliness, is a tragedy over there. So we know that these are really fundamental things when we talk about health. There are over 250 verses in the Quran regarding nutrition, like al-taghdiya, the food, talking about ta'am, talking about the sharab. There are so many verses, al-akl wa shurb, al-at'ima, al-ashriba. This is a Quranic discussion. This is a discussion in our fiqh, in our jurisprudence. And the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum washkurullaha. When you eat from what is tayyib. And tayyib is something clean, something healthy, something halal. Kulu min at-tayyibat wa'amalu salihah. When you eat something tayyib, it energizes you to do righteous act. So there is a relationship between healthy food and healthy practices. يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا أُحِلَّ لَهُمْ قُلْ أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. When they are asking that, what is it, O Rasulullah, what is permitted to eat in our religion? Tell them what is tayyib, that is permitted. Kulu washrabu wala tusrifu. All I can tell you, just to have balance in eating and drinking, that you are not musrifin. Inna Allah la yuhibbul musrifin. Innahu la yuhibbul musrifin. That eat, drink, but don't waste. So it is really important that this balance between meat, between fruit, between vegetarian, because now we have some people just focus on meat. Some people don't eat meat. They want to just have vegetables. Some people, they want to eat only fruit. While we have a body with 20 trillion cells that functioning as brain, as hand, as heart, and vision, as memory, as muscle, as audio, video, all this complicated, sophisticated body that God gave us, it needs to be fed, and there should be a balance in all this material that needed for that. For that reason, Allah says, وَلَأَنْعَامُ خَلَقَهَا لَكُمْ لَكُمْ فِيهَا دِفْءٌ وَمَنَافِعُ وَمِنْهَا تَأْكُلُونَ. Really, if you didn't have a verse like that, I personally cannot eat meat if there was not a direct permission from God. Because sometimes I think, I mean, how can I eat meat and a poor animal, whether it's like a cow or a camel or a lamb? Why they should pay the price for me to be fed? It's not fair. And then I said that the only justification, the only reason that I touch meat is that it is permitted. Otherwise, and God is wise and he knows better. But the same God, he said, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةُ وَالدَّمُ وَاللَّحْمُ الْخَنْزِيرِ وَمَا أُهِلَّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ. There are certain animals that they are haram, just a limited number of animals that we can eat. Now, there are people who don't believe in these traditions and these principles. They may eat even dog and cats and even fox and leopard and, you know, wolf and tiger and even human beings. So that is a crazy category. But when we talk about our Islamic traditions, even the animals that they are permitted, their meat is permitted to be eaten, there are certain organs of the halal animals that we are not supposed to eat. But other than that, if there are the animals that are allowed for us to be slaughtered and to be part of our food, لا تحرموا طيبات ما أحل الله لكم. If it is halal, then you don't come and make it haram and say, oh, I don't want to approach meat at all, I'm just vegetarian. Of course, it's not haram to be vegetarian, but it is not haram to eat the halal meat either. But again, the balance matters a lot. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَتَمَتَّعُونَ وَيَأْكُلُونَ كَمَا تَأْكُلُ الْأَنْعَامِ. Allah is saying that those disbelievers who don't believe in the principles of halal and haram, they may eat like an'am, like the animals, and that is wrong. Also, when it comes to the issue of drinking, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسَرُ, that the wine, the liquor, and gambling, min amal shaitan fajtanibuhu la'allakum tuflihun. So there are certain food and certain drinks that they are forbidden in our religion, but at the same time there are fruits, there are vegetables, there are so many things that Quran talks about it. Wat-teen, was-zaytun, al-'inab, al-rutab, al-talh, al-rumman. There are things that fruits that mention in the Quran, vegetables that mention in the Quran, and we are allowed to actually benefit from those kinds of food and fruit. But Quran says, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَّا طَعَامِهِ. Doesn't matter what you eat and you drink, make sure that you watch what you eat. Whether it is a physical food, you make sure that it is healthy, or it is spiritual. There is hadith from Imam Baqir, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَّا طَعَامِهِ أي فَلْيَنْظُرْ إِلَى عِلْمِهِ مِمَّنْ يَأْخُذُهُ. Even the knowledge, the information, that is a food for your brain. And you have to be careful that you don't get poisonous information. Then there are many ahadith in the health traditions. One is from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, كُلْ وَأَنْتَ تَشْتَهِي وَأَمْسِكْ وَأَنْتَ تَشْتَهِي. One of the keys of living healthy is that you eat, and when you are hungry, and you stop eating and still you are hungry. And in any time we see that spirituality is mixed with this physical food, like when we start eating in Islamic tradition, we start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and when we end eating, say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There is another hadith from Imam Mushtaba alayhi salam that we are approaching the birthday of Imam in the middle of Ramadan, that he said that عجبت لمن يتفكر في مأكوله كيف لا يتفكر في معقوله. I'm shocked that some people are so sensitive and so serious about their physical food, but they are not really careful about their spiritual food. While we see in the Quran, always there is a balance. Like Allah says, وَالتِّينَ وَالزَّيْتُونَ وَطُورِ السِّينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. He is talking about two material food, like a fig and olives, التين والزيتون. And then وَطُورِ السِّينِينَ, the place when Torah was revealed, وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ, the place where Quran was revealed, because Torah was the first official book and the Quran was the last official book. So Allah talks about two physical food, two kinds of physical food, fig and olives, and two spiritual food, at Torah and the Quran. Then there is another hadith from Imam Rida alayhi salam, لو أن الناس قصدوا في الطعام لأعتدلت أبدانهم. If people had balance in their food, in their eating, they had a balance in their health and in their body. So there are so many ayat, so many ahadith that speak about what to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. And then the conclusion is that وَلَا تُلْقُوا بَأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Whatever you eat, if halal, of course, and tayyib, you make sure that through your food and through al-akl, you are not harming your health. Like smoking, we know that harms our health. Drugs is harmful. Alcohol is harmful. إِنَّ اللَّهَ جَعَلَ لِكُلِّ دَاءٍ دَوَاءٌ فَتَدَاوُوا. The Prophet went to visit somebody who was sick, and the Prophet asked that, did you see a doctor? And the guy said, وَأَنْتَ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. I mean, you are the Prophet of God, and you are saying that whether we saw a doctor? I mean, can you just make a prayer? You are the Prophet. And Rasul alayhi salam answered that whenever there is an illness, God has provided a shifa and cure, and you have to see a doctor. Yes, Allah provides shifa, Allah provides cure, but the same Allah is saying that apply science and see a doctor. Let me conclude with this, that there was a tabib, a doctor for Harun Rashid, one of the Khulafa of Abbasi, that one day this tabib, this doctor, asked one of the ulama, one of the scholars that was in the discussion, in the meeting, and he said that, did your prophet, or in general your religion, say anything about a tip? And I don't see it. I mean, show me something in your book or in your tradition that promotes tip and the medical practice. And the alim who was there, he said, of course. You know, the Prophet, through wahy, he summarized, he told us, كُلُّ وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Eat and drink, but be in balance, don't waste it. So this is very brief, a message in our Quran. And also the Prophet said, he summarized, he said, al-mi'adatu baytu da' wal-himyatu ra'su dawa. That means that the stomach is the center of all this illness, all all these diseases start from ma'da, from stomach, out of things that we eat and drink, that causes the illness. وَالْحِمْيَةُ رَأْسُ الدَّوَاء. But the diet, the way that we control our eating and drinking, that is our dawa, and that is our cure. That Tabib of Harun Rashid, he said, with that verse in the Quran and this hadith from your prophet, looks like your religion left nothing for Jalinus, for Kalen. So really, there is nothing else that I can say. So, sorry if it was a little bit long, but I thought that just a religious reflection on health and healthy food. And now we are ready to benefit from your science, your background, and your presentation. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Mohammad Alqamoussi. I'm trying to share my screen right now because I do have a PowerPoint.
Welcome, Mohammad. Thank you for being with us. I'm sorry, my screen was on mute. Just want to thank Imam Elahi for this virtual introduction. And Mohammad Alqamoussi from, tell us a little bit about you and what do you do and the topic that I'm going to be talking about. And we also have with us Linda Bazzi. Also, she works with you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. So my name is Mohammad Alqamoussi. I am the culinary educator at the LAHC. I'm also a certified nutritionist as well as a certified culinarian and a certified pastry culinarian. I also have Linda Bazzi with me, my colleague, who is an outstanding health educator with me at the LAHC. Today, we're going to be talking to you guys about how to stay active and healthy during the month of Ramadan.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to share my screen to start with the PowerPoint presentation. Alrighty. Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. I want to wish you and your families a Ramadan Kareem and blessed and healthy Ramadan. Thank you for tuning in. I also want to thank Sheikh Elahi and Hajj Khalil and the Islamic House of Wisdom for allowing us to share this beneficial information with you tonight. So just a little background about the LAHC. LAHC stands for Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities. LAHC's mission is to empower communities one family at a time by advancing the educational, social, health, and economic well-being of Southeastern Michigan residents. LAHC has been serving the community since 1982 and now provides services to over 35,000 individuals every year. So under LAHC's Public Health Department, we offer two programs. One is on obesity prevention and the other one is on substance abuse prevention. Our healthy living programs offers nutritional education, physical activity promotion, and wellness initiatives. We also provide fitness and cooking classes through our school-based and community sites. So today, we're gonna be talking to you guys about how to keep you and your family healthy and active during the month of Ramadan. So we'll also be talking about foods, of what to eat, what to avoid during the month of Ramadan. We're going to talk about how to stay hydrated and what foods sustain hydration during the month of Ramadan. We'll discuss how to stay active and how some people in Ramadan might turn into like a sleeping machine. So we're going to try to avoid that and how to stay active. We're going to also discuss how to get your kids involved in the kitchen, teach them a little cooking skills and baking skills as well. And lastly, we will also talk about how to stay mindful during the month of Ramadan. During this pandemic we're living in now, we need to be mindful more than ever. I will also be providing tip sheets to the Islamic House of Wisdom, which they'll be posting after this presentation on their social media outlets. Also, to access all of our information and experience all the benefits the LAHC has to offer, feel free to follow us on social media, which is in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Okay. So first and foremost, there is the question, of course, is should I be fasting? Now, of course, I can't answer this. None of us can answer this question on the webinar here. However, if you do have chronic illnesses, for example, heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, anything like that, it is advised that you contact your primary care doctor to see if it's safe enough for you to fast during Ramadan. It's also advised that anyone over 60 or 65 should consult their doctor every year to see if they're healthy enough to fast. It's also important to check with your scholar. I know now during the COVID-19 pandemic, there are a couple scholars who came out and gave specific guidelines on whether or not you and your family should be fasting if you fall under certain guidelines. So just check out their websites and be sure it's healthy and safe for you to fast. Okay, so we're going to first discuss about eating a well-balanced iftar meal. So it's important to eat a well-balanced meal, of course. So a meal of such consists of complex carbohydrates, animal-based or plant-based protein, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Also, you want to be sure to get enough fiber in your diet. So for those of you who don't know, fiber, I'm going to explain fiber. Fiber passes through the body, keeping your digestive system clean and healthy. So it also eases the bowel movements and it also flushes out cholesterol and harmful carcinogens in the body. So you want to think of fiber as something that kind of pushes unwanted things out of the body for you. As Sheikh Elahi mentioned, we do have tradition in what we eat in Ramadan, and lucky for us, for people who fast in Ramadan, you should break your fast. It's recommended to break your fast on a couple of dates, which are an excellent source of fiber. So be sure to include dates in your diet during Ramadan. So your iftar plate should consist of plenty of fruits and vegetables, which will provide vitamins and minerals. So you want to choose whole grains. You want to choose wheat bread instead of white bread, which I was talking about falls into the complex carb area. Wheat bread instead of white bread. Brown rice instead of white rice. Whole grain pasta instead of white pasta. All these little changes will make a huge difference in what your body processes. And also, all those little changes have fiber, which is important to flush out all the toxins you have in your body. These also will provide energy for you throughout the day because simple carbs, your body will process them as a sugar, and sugar will keep you fatigued as well as so complex carbs they'll process the fiber and give you the energy to sustain during the month of Ramadan. So you also want to include a healthy protein in your body. Some examples, they're not limited to some white skin fish. That's like the healthier type of fish to eat. Lean white meat poultry is a good choice of protein. Also some plant-based proteins. We have lentils, oats, beans, chickpeas. Those are all great sources of plant-based proteins. Protein basically gives you energy and it also keeps going. So it also keeps you on the go and it keeps you going. So protein is important to include in your body, especially during Ramadan and Iftar. You need an accurate amount of protein. And you want to avoid all fried and processed foods. They're generally high in fat and high in sugar. So you want to aim not to break your fast on processed meat or processed cheeses, soda, anything that's clearly not very healthy for you. These types of foods do promote weight gain, the unhealthy weight gain, as well as they don't give you really any nutrients whatsoever besides taste. And during Ramadan, you only have a couple meals. You want as much nutrients as you can get to sustain a healthy month without becoming unhealthy during the end. So of course, you may be tempted to overeat and eat quickly during Ramadan, which is understandable because you've been fasting all day and you have a spread on the table and it's beautiful and you just want to put everything in your mouth because, it looks so good.
Tempting.
Yeah, very tempting, exactly. Very tempting. So it's understandable, but you want to try to eat slowly with or without Ramadan. You want to always try to eat slowly, enjoy your food, but especially in Ramadan, this is the time where you want to, be thankful for what you have and appreciate, every bite that you have. So you want to try to eat slowly, enjoy your food, and be thankful. And your body will also thank you for doing that. Because I know a lot of people, they'll eat a beautiful spread really quick. Your mom complains, it took me, 6 hours to make this food and you finished it in 6 minutes. So you also want to make your mom or whoever made the food happy. So take your time.
Before we walk away from this segment, could you
Sure.
give us a little bit more examples on fiber? Because this is very important.
Yeah, sure. So fiber, so you want to have a lot of vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables, for example, broccoli, kale, lentils are a good source of fiber and a good source of iron. Basically, many fruits and vegetables will give you the amount of fiber that you need to sustain a healthy, diet, as well as flush out any toxins needed in your body.
Okay.
So you want to kind of look for vegetables as much as you can for fiber. Yeah, so like we were talking about, you just don't want to eat everything, have everything on the table, and like eat dessert and tea, and you wanna take everything slowly. Speaking of dessert, you want to try to swamp out those cheese-filled simple syrup circles and triangles that we all love during Ramadan. You want to try to go. They do taste great, but you want to try to go for some fruit, some natural sugar. Of course, your body is craving something sweet after a very long day, so which is also understandable. But you want to try to fuel your body with natural, healthy sugars found in fruit as much as you can, rather than processed desserts that we're used to eating.
Some people used to have like cold Pepsi, with ice. They thought, how there, and now it's time of Iftar, and they have kebab and all of this, and at the same time, Pepsi and all these drinks with ice. What do you think about that? Is like doesn't look so healthy, does it?
No, it's not healthy at all. Technically, you're getting water because of the ice, but still, it's not healthy. What you can do, I know now they have seltzer water, so like the sparkling water.
Yeah.
So they taste pretty similar to soda. There's a lot of flavors out there, and there's no sugar. It's just water, a little bit of carbonation.
Yeah, LaCroix is a good example.
Yes.
Yeah, LaCroix is a great example. Yeah. So that's a better alternative.
So like 7-Up, Pepsi, Coke, this kind of thing you don't advise. Sugar again.
Yeah, no, those things have an insane amount of sugar in them. Some of them don't even use sugar. They use an ingredient called high fructose corn syrup, which is terrible for your body. So you want to try to avoid anything like that. If you are craving, something with a little bit of carbonation, the seltzer water, Simple Truth Organic, LaCroix, as Khalil said, those are great choices for you.
They also say like water is the healthiest drink, but if you get tired of water, you can always put like fruits or vegetables to infuse the water with some flavor, like put some strawberries, some mint. We also recommend that as well, just to give you a little bit more flavor.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, so over here, don't skip suhoor. So for obvious reasons, you don't want to skip suhoor. You only get 2 meals a day, so you want to take advantage of them as much as you can. Your suhoor should look like a light breakfast. That's a good way to think of it. It may include some fruits and vegetables as well. You're looking for foods to give you energy living here for the next 15 hours or some. You want to try to avoid foods that are greasy and made with simple carbs, such as white bread or white rice. your meal should be a wholesome meal, not something just to like fill your gullet and not nourish the body in any way. I find that this meal is arguably more important than iftar, because this meal either sets you up for success or disaster for the next 15 hours or so. So you want to make sure you have a healthy suhoor meal. As pictured, you're going to see a good example kind of what your healthy food should look like, healthy suhoor. You have whole grain oats here. There's a few raisins in there, maybe some sunflower seeds right here, pumpkin seeds as well. You can add nuts to it. You have a few dates, which, as we were talking about, are a great source of fiber. And in here, this is a plant-based milk, but you can also, if you want regular milk, that's also fine as well. If you add some veggies to that, you have yourself a very well-balanced, light meal that will sustain you for the coming hours.
How about fruit?
Fruit, definitely, yeah. Fruit, vegetables, you want to add those as well as fiber. That gives you fiber as well.
Cheeses and all of that, is that also part of the combination?
So cheeses, processed, so the problem with cheese, it does contain a good amount of sodium, a lot of those processed cheeses, so you kind of want to stay away from those. I'm actually going to talk about that soon, about like hydration and sodium.
Yeah.
So you want to try to stay away from all those processed cheeses as much as you can, definitely. So stay hydrated. This is probably the most important slide I have for you guys tonight. Staying hydrated is one of the most important keys to staying successful during the month of Ramadan. So for some who don't know what water does, it doesn't just do one thing, it does many things in the body. It has many components. So I'm just going to explain. Water carries nutrients to your body, and it carries oxygen to your brain. Water also allows you to absorb minerals, vitamins, amino acids, glucose, and other substances. Water also flushes out toxins and waste. It also helps regulate your body temperature, and it helps as a lubricant for your joints and muscles. So water does many things. So you want to make sure you stay hydrated so your body doesn't lose out on many of those important things to keep working. So during Ramadan, many individuals don't drink nearly enough water. There is an old rule, it's called the 8x8 rule, which stands for 8-ounce glasses per day. That's kind of a debatable, saying, but it's still a good point to get to. That's something that you should aim to get to. And I understand that might be very tough. You only have around 6 hours to drink 8-ounce glasses of water per day, but it's very important. It's very important to drink that much water for your body to work, especially during the month of Ramadan. You can't drink for 15 plus hours a day, so you want to try to get as much as you can.
I usually have some warm waters with like 1 or 2 lemons. Both at iftar and suhoor, and it helps me a lot. I mean, even this cold and a lot of these illnesses looks like my own experience when I do this. Even before Ramadan, I used to do it every morning, like warm water with lemons. I don't know if this works for everybody, though. It worked for me, but I'm not sure that every system, every person, it works for him or her. But for me, it worked very well.
Yeah, water and lemon, because with that you get your vitamin C in, which is great. And warm water. Some people don't like having cold water because it does kind of irritate their throat. But that's a great choice. That's also a good way. Some people don't like the taste of water, so as you do, Sheikh, you add flavor to it, which is great. Water, lemon, oranges, mint, as my colleague Linda was talking about. So many people become dehydrated during the month of Ramadan. They faint, they lose consciousness. I've seen it with multiple people, especially the elderly. So we need to make sure, especially our loved ones, the older generation, to make sure they're getting enough water during the month of Ramadan. So you want to be sure to drink water, not soda, not jaleb, not bimto, just water. That's the best thing you can do for your body.
What's your take on smart water?
Yeah, so smart water will contain electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
So electrolytes you need, for example, God forbid if someone gets sick, okay, and they throw up a little bit. Okay. They become very dehydrated. Yeah. So they need some electrolytes to fulfill that. It kind of helps you. You're going to lose electrolytes if you become dehydrated. Mm-hmm. So during Ramadan, that's actually a great point. You could use electrolytes because that sustains hydration as well. So smart water, there's essential water that also has electrolytes as well.
Now, they are high in pH, right?
pH, yeah, as well. So there are foods that promote dehydration, as Khalil was talking about.
Before we get to that, is it recommended to drink water before meal or after meal, or does it matter?
So there's two schools of thought on that one. Technically, I'm with the fan of drinking it before a meal, and the reason is because when I drink water before a meal, my stomach won't be eating as much.
Okay.
So I kind of vote for that side because I do agree with it. Now it depends kind of what you're eating. If you're eating vegetables, it's okay if you have a lot of vegetables and then drink water. But it's good during the month of Ramadan to have a glass of water with some dates. I know a lot of families start off with soup. Yeah. That's great as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So there are foods that do promote dehydration, and you want to stay away from those as much as you can during Ramadan. Any high sodium foods will promote dehydration. Sodium means salt, so also known as any salty foods. You want to stay away from those as much as you can during the month of Ramadan. So I want to explain what happens to your body when you have salty foods. So when salt is detected in your bloodstream, your kidneys are going to start to work very hard. They're going to kick into overdrive mode. And they're going to try to filter as much salt as they can through the bloodstream, through the passage of urine. So, however, kidneys need a good deal of water to just remove a small amount of water. So, in the month of Ramadan, of course, you can't drink a lot of water. So you want to drink as much as you can when you have time, when you're allowed to break your fast, because this way your body is going to get rid of all the salt that you had during a meal. That's why, so for example, let's say I know many people, if you have a pizza and you go to sleep right away, you're most likely going to wake up in the middle of the night very thirsty, and you're going to have to drink water. Because there's a lot of sodium, there's a lot of that cheese and processed food on your pizza or something that you want to try to avoid at all costs. Ramadan, not Ramadan, same thing, but in Ramadan, the problem is you can't drink water at 9 a.m. because you're thirsty. So you want to try to stay away from all salty foods as much as possible.
And was that your last slide?
No, I have a few more.
I would like to give Linda the opportunity to share the discussion with us as well. If you'd like to add anything, Linda.
Actually, this is both of our presentation, but we thought for the ease of time, it would just be better for Mohammad to present the whole presentation. Thank you, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Linda hopefully will help me if there's any Q&A. They'll be involved, definitely. Yes. Okay. So staying active. This slide is a tricky slide because this point can be very tricky. People who are fasting basically don't have the energy to keep active, which makes sense because you're fatigued, you're dehydrated. So some people prefer to exercise before Iftar. Some people prefer to exercise after Iftar. Regardless of what time you choose to exercise, you should avoid any intense exercises during the month of Ramadan. So let's say you prefer to exercise before Iftar. Keep in mind that your body is most likely dehydrated, has no water. And the more you exercise, the more dehydrated your body's going to become. You can't, if you get tired, you can't just drink water. So I suggest that people do activities instead of working out, instead of heavy lifting or going running. For example, you can do some gardening, cut your grass, wash your car, do some stretching. You can do some yoga, go for a walk your dog, play with your children. These are all activities that are going to get you moving without giving a lot of stress to your body, straining your body.
Some people like to work after, like 2 hours after dinner. Is that recommended?
Yeah. So after Iftar, so that was my next point actually. So after Iftar, that also doesn't mean you can have intense workouts. So the reason that being is because your body is still working to metabolize everything you just ate. Okay. You shouldn't strain it even more. It's already working hard enough. You don't want to push it even more by going to the gym and lifting 300 pounds of 10 reps, or going on a 3-mile run. But you should also consider some activities, as we talked about. I want to make a point that I'm not saying you shouldn't exercise for 30 days, but you want to make sure how you exercise, how long and how hard you exercise.
Absolutely.
As it could backfire very well because of dehydration.
Yeah, because my son keeps asking me if he could work out 2 hours after a meal, and I say, no intensity,
No intensity, definitely.
That's good advice. Yes, that's good advice.
If it's a walk or something, that's fine, but as long no like heavy lifting or cardio, definitely. So this one, you want to get the kids involved. During Ramadan, children will definitely have more screen time. And the reason being is adults are fasting and they don't really have the energy to spend time with their kids. So children usually spend time on video games or on their phones or their iPads or surfing the internet or something. It makes sense because parents don't have a lot of energy to be with them. But try to get your kids involved in the kitchen to help you prepare for dinner at least. It is true that teaching your children how to cook is one of the best gifts you can give them. They'll thank you for a very long time that, they learn to cook. Many people don't really know much about cooking. You want your children to feel connected with you during Ramadan. I know now Ramadan is all about, you barely see your loved ones. Everyone's doing their own thing. Everyone's isolated except dinner time. Then everyone goes back to doing their own thing throughout the day. And that's really not what it should be about. It should be about feeling connected with your family and your friends as much as you can. So try to get your child to help you in the kitchen. They can learn basic kitchen skills as well as cooking skills. It will also provide an activity for you guys to do together daily, something you can both look forward to, or at least your child looks forward to it. Some activities, they can do if someone's wondering how they're going to help you in the kitchen. They can, pour dry or liquid ingredients into a bowl. They can rinse fruit. They can rinse vegetables, scrub potatoes. They can pick off some of the herbs on a stem, mash vegetables. Basically, anything you don't want to do, just give it to your child and they'll do it for you, in a safe way.
Sure. Definitely.
So here we have practice this mindfulness. So mindfulness is just in Ramadan, but in everyday life, especially now during COVID-19, we need to be more mindful than ever. I want to give the definition of mindfulness. It's the quality of being present and fully engaged with whatever we're doing at the moment, free from any distraction or judgment, and aware of your thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. So mindfulness could be anything from mindful breathing to meditation to yoga to prayer. Prayer done correctly is also a form of, meditation and mindfulness. Some people prefer, to go on a walk to be mindful. Others may listen to music or their Quran piece in any way. You want to choose. So every person has their own way to be mindful. There isn't really a right or wrong way to be mindful. Sure, there are proven techniques to being mindful, definitely, but everyone has their own personal way, and you just want to aim to get there, because a happy mind and a good relaxed mind is very important to have.
It just came to my mind, Muhammad, that you were talking about the kids, and sometimes, you know, the family, they have like a huge iftar and, you know, everything in order, but then they don't want to touch any of this, and they are looking for fries or something like that, or pizza, or, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know if you have a recommendation for situation like that or not.
Yes, so what you can do is, so vegetables don't really look appetizing. So to be honest, if you have a pizza or you have lasagna or something like that, that looks very good, you know, but you know, if you have some broccoli or some fruit, it doesn't look as appetizing. So what I like to do is maybe design the plate in a nice way, or design the fruit in a nice way. Something like that, just to get the kids, you know, to enjoy it a little more. Or what you can do is, this is kind of messed up, but you can kind of sneak the vegetables into the food as much as you can, so they won't know. That's also a great way. Definitely, yeah.
But getting them in the kitchen, like Muhammad was saying, when you get the kids cooking in the kitchen, they're more apt to eat what they created in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
So, taking them to the grocery store, you know, well, these times is very difficult, but hopefully when we get back to normal, you know, taking them to the grocery store, having them, you know, make a checklist of what the ingredients they need, getting in the kitchen and cooking really, really gets them.
You involve them, like when you involve them, they get excited and they're motivated, and they participate when they know that they are part of it. That's a good point, actually.
Yep. Very well said.
They take a pride of what they made.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's another thing that we do in our house, which is if you put it on the table, they're gonna eat it. So be mindful what you put on the table, and you know, we all like fries. Don't put too many of them. So
that's true. Yeah. Because there's a big bowl of fries and a small bowl of broccoli, you're gonna have more fries. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, so you want to try to aim to be as mindful as you can. Aim to get there in your own personal way. Over here, we do have a couple tip sheets that the LAHC provides for your reference. Over here, you're going to see one, how to stay active during the month of Ramadan. Another one on tips how to stay healthy during the month of Ramadan. These tip sheets were provided to the Islamic House of Wisdom, which they will publish on their Facebook page, as well as, so these are also available in Arabic. They're translated in Arabic for anyone who needs. And we have a couple more. One about making better beverage choices during the month of Ramadan, and one about tips to staying hydrated during the month of Ramadan. These were also, both of them translated in Arabic, that we will give out. These are also on our Facebook page, our social media outlets for anyone who needs them.
Yeah.
So for more helpful information, of course, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can also learn more about us at lahc.org. Below you can find more information, helpful information about staying healthy during Ramadan and COVID-19. We have the World Health Organization here, which actually does provide Ramadan tips for people who would like. CDC for any coronavirus or COVID-19 updates that are going on. And mindful.org, which is a great way to start learning about mindfulness. So we want to thank you all for your time. Thank you again for the Islamic House of Wisdom for allowing, and its leaders for allowing us the time to speak to you. And Ramadan Kareem.
Question for you in regard to caffeine, you know, coffee and tea during Ramadan.
Yes.
Are those recommended after meal? I mean, you gotta have some, because
yeah, you gotta have some.
About caffeine, you know.
Yeah, it's our youngest son, Zain al-Abidin. It's a small boy. Says, Baba tea. He likes tea. Now that I drink tea, he follows me, and he wants to have some tea as well. And Hajj Jennifer said, no, don't give him tea. Don't give him tea. It's too early for him to have tea. but he is so much like something. And by the way, Brother Muhammad and also Sir Linda, you know, in Ramadan, because there is a tradition that when nawmuhum ibadah, when you are sa'im, when you are fasting, even when you are sleeping, the act of sleeping is an act of ibadah. And some people misunderstand that. They think that it's mustahab to sleep the whole time, while Ramadan is not really the time for being tambal, to be time to be like lazy. It is also Shahrul Jihad, it's a month of struggle, month of action, month of responsibility. So it's not to be really lazy and like irresponsible and thinking that, well, since even sleeping is a practice of ibadah, an act of worship, then it's okay. I mean, yeah, we get tired. It's okay to have a nap during the fasting day of Ramadan, but doesn't mean that, you know, we spend the whole time just sleeping. I don't know if that came to your mind at all, that this is also a problem. I mean, if somebody has no responsibility and retired very elderly, that's understandable. Nothing else to do, want to have some rest. But in general, Ramadan and the philosophy of fasting is not to be passive and lazy, and but to be active. I mean, we have biggest thing happen in history of Islam that happened during the holy month of Ramadan. That means that, yeah, it is time for ibadah, it's time for salat, but also time for charity, time for action, time for be volunteer, especially now that, you know, we are going through this crisis, and we feel that we should show more solidarity, more support, more empathy, more compassion, more outreach. I mean, to observe the social distance for sure. I mean, to observe this social orders, but at the same time, not to forget that the fasting is not to be just useless, just, you know, hunger and thirst, but also to be active at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, I was asking about the tea and coffee. Are those recommended after dinner or during suhoor?
With
Go ahead,
tea, I mean, like the Imam was saying, his son likes to drink tea. With tea, you know, especially with kids, we want to be careful that it's not caffeinated. You know, he can have some tea without caffeine, and then we always like to add sugar to our tea. So, you know, we can get used to drinking it without sugar, but you know, just minimize how much sugar you do put in it. Coffee, same thing. Try to stay away from the caffeine, especially, you know, if it's nighttime and, you know, you're going to go to sleep in a couple of hours, that caffeine is going to keep you up. So again, with the coffee too, just minimize how much sugar and cream you put in it, because the cream also has sugar in it too. So it's not a bad drink, but it becomes a bad drink when we add the extras to it, like the sugars and the creams and stuff.
Now, both coffee and tea with caffeine in them contribute to hydration. Is that correct? Not necessarily.
That's also we keep reading different studies keep coming out. Some say yes, that the caffeine dehydrates you, because you do know when you do drink caffeine, you bathroom a little bit more. But then some studies are saying that no, that has no effect on dehydration. So studies are just not conclusive on that one.
Another thing I'd like to ask you about is, what some people do it, you know, people do it differently, which is spacing out the food when we break fast. For example, I like to drink water, eat some dates, and then go pray. Take my time, come back, eat some soup and salad, take a little bit of time. You know, normally after, you know, we finish the program, then I eat more. Or is it better to just, you know, when we break fast, go ahead and eat our meal?
It is a good idea to space your meals,
Yeah,
because you're
definitely.
giving your body more time to digest what you've eaten, especially after, you know, eaten for 15, 16 hours. Giving your body that rest time instead of eating it all at once is a better option health-wise for your body.
And also allows for hydration, you know, get the
Correct.
body hydrated, then we can eat.
Right.
I
And
know
then,
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
with like with hydration, you can also look at like fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables have a lot of water in them. Some have more than others, but those are also great ways to rehydrate your body as well, other than just drinking water.
I know that Lebanese American Heritage Club's brother Wasim and you all are involved with the youth, working on youth activities, drugs issues, so many things. And during Ramadan, anything special from the club for the kids, for the youth? Any special activities these days?
With our, I know that's our, we're from the Healthy Living Department, and for our Healthy Living Department, we are running youth physical activity. We're doing those over Instagram Live. We actually just had a workout, I believe yesterday. So we do invite all youth. We also do family workouts where we invite, you know, the whole entire family to come out and work out with us. So we're switching gears a little bit because, you know, we are
certain hours, like certain days, certain hours that.
Yes, we will share the schedule with you if you'd like to put it out. Yeah, there is for the month of May. We are, I believe, every Monday we are doing a family workout, and then I believe every Friday we are doing a youth workout. But we will share those with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Is there anything we haven't asked you that it's important for people to know, whether about healthy living or whether about your organization?
Well, we are always looking for ideas. You know, we you know, it's a little bit harder now because we are working remote. So we are trying to still engage the community, families, women. You know, we do women only workouts as well. So we've really been trying to keep up with, you know, the community and to, you know, fulfill the needs as we go. It's very hard doing it remote, but
Sure.
you know, if you guys have any ideas for us, we're open to anything at this point.
You guys do a great job, and really
Thank
appreciate
you.
everything you do for the community. And you know, we've worked with you before. We'll continue to work with you, serving the community. And Brother Mahdi just joined us, and I wonder if he has any questions for you.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister
Salam,
Mahdi and Brother Muhammad, Said Khalil. We missed you, and
thank you. I miss you too, guys.
Really love the presentation. Just few comments. You know, it's interesting. You talked about the importance of fasting and, you know, how to really organize your diet and whatnot. It reminded me of what the Romans used to do thousands of years ago. Whenever somebody was going through a seizure, during the time of the Roman empires, what they would do is they would think that a demon is possessing them. So they would take these people and they'd throw them inside of a prison cell and they'd keep them there for like a day or two. And then they realized that after a couple of days, they would become normal again. And what they didn't realize, or what they failed to understand at that time that we understand now, is it was a form of fasting, because, you know, when you tap into your liver stores, the amount of amines that start to be produced could actually help reduce the amount of seizures that an individual has. So it's very interesting that we are now learning the many benefits of fasting, something that was brought by the Holy Prophet 1400 years ago. I just had a question in regards to, I actually had a couple questions. A lot of the times, especially when we're as college students, we forget to eat breakfast. We skip breakfast and we jump right into like a lunch or afternoon snack type of thing. What is your take on skipping breakfast? And on top of that, if I were to eat breakfast, usually I'd eat a dinner type of meal in the morning as opposed to your traditional cereal. Is that okay? Is that considered healthy?
There are two schools of thought on that, Brother Mahdi, as far as skipping breakfast or not. I personally believe you should not skip breakfast. I think breakfast is the core meal of the day, definitely. Also, you want to make sure having dinner for breakfast is probably not, the best idea. You want to have a light breakfast. You want to have something with complex carbs, less sugar. For example, a lot of cereals, they might, they're going to taste good, but they're not really as good for you. They contain lots of sugar and they're made from they're very processed, exactly. So you can, for example, I make my, you can make your own oats at home. You just roast some oats, put some pecans or anything in the oven, and put some seeds, some chia seeds, anything like that. And then I eat that as my cereal. So you're making it as less processed as possible with your type of milk that you use. And I personally believe you should never skip breakfast and try to, you want to have a light breakfast, but something to give you energy, even some fruit, right. A banana, an orange, anything like that.
Okay. One last question in terms of working out. I know you touched based on it towards the end of your presentation. When is the best time to work out while you're fasting, and does it depend on what your goal is in terms of maybe if you want to cut weight or build bulk? Is there a specific time that one should work out while they're fasting, or does it depend on the goals that they have in mind in terms of what they want their body to look like?
Yeah, definitely. So you shouldn't have intense workouts regardless if you fast before Ramadan. Before Iftar or after Iftar. Now, if you're kind of you really want to work out and you want to have an intense workout before or after Iftar, definitely after Iftar, because you can drink water. Before Iftar, if you get really dehydrated, which you are going to be if you go to the gym or you do a lot of cardio, you can't really drink water. But as I mentioned, if you do it after Iftar, you're still going to strain your body, maybe not as much, because you do have you can still drink water, and but your body is still working to process everything you just ate. So if you were going to do one and you were you insisted on doing an intense workout, after Iftar would be the way to go, definitely. But not right after, maybe a couple hours after.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Very beautiful discussion. I think, I hope that, said Khalil, people who follow this discussion, very important matter. The hadith from the Prophet, peace be upon him, شيئان لا يعرف قدرهما إلا من فقدهما الصحة والأمان. There are two gifts that people don't appreciate and take it for granted till they lost them. And one of them is health and the other is security. So I think that was a very important discussion today, that especially during the holy month of Ramadan, and remind me also another sentence that is not hadith, but probably is from one of the hukama, maybe from Aflatun or somebody, that it said, Al-aqlu salim fi jasadith salim. That a good mind is a good health. So if you are healthy, you can think healthy. But if the body is sick, even your mind cannot operate like a normal way. In some extent, I'm not saying that now if somebody is sick, then he cannot have a good mind. There are a lot of people who are handicapped, or they are blind or whatever, but still they are very smart and they are best mind and very mindful and very inspiring. But in some extent, it's true that العقل السليم في جسد السليم, that there is a relationship between a healthy mind and a healthy body. I really appreciate this cooperation between Islamic House of Wisdom and Lebanese American Heritage Club. I admire Brother Ali Jawad. He is a very humble man. He is not appearance. He doesn't like to be seen, but always man of action and behind anything that helps the community. And this club has been there for decades now, and always really a center of help, the center of hope. And now with you guys and with Brother Wasim, very active, very dynamic, and especially focusing on the families, on the youth, drugs issues, and bringing all this energy and this work to community and young generation. That is a great blessing. We pray for all of you, for Ali, for Wasim, for all the staff of Lebanese American Heritage Club, and we really appreciate your presentation and answering our questions. Right, Said Khalil? If you want to add something.
You said it all.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to close it with a prayer, we appreciate it, Sheikh.
Okay. Month of Ramadan is month of prayer, and we are approaching middle of Ramadan very soon, and subhanallah, time flies so fast. 12 of Ramadan, already 12 of Ramadan. We continue a prayer from Munajat Imam Zain al-Abidin during this holy month of Ramadan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak وحب من يحبك وحب كل عمل يوصلني إلى قربك. إلهي ليس لي وسيلة إليك إلا عواطف رأفتك، ولا لي ذريعة إليك إلا عوارف رحمتك، وشفاعة نبيك نبي الرحمة ومنقذ الأمة من الغمة، فاجعلهما لي سببا إلى نيل غفرانك، وسيرهما لي وصلة إلى الفوز برضوانك. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات، وتابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
اللهم صل على
Muhammad, Linda, thank you so much for being with us. Please thank Wasim as well. Thank you, Imam. Thank you, Mahdi. Thank you, everyone. Good night, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank
Good
you for
night.
having
Thank you.